All right. So is there right and wrong? I said there is no right and wrong. And Ant wrote, right and wrong, according to my beliefs. For the other 5,000 people in the building, we won't wait until y'all answer. We're just going to move on with the conversation. So I had a couple questions. As I was asking myself, is there right and wrong? If there is right and wrong, and I think Ant just kind of got into the conversation, the next question that we have to ask is, what is our right and wrong according to? What is our judge, our standard for judging what's right and wrong? And what do I mean by what is our standard of judging what's right and wrong? What's our compass? You know, we've heard us talk about the moral compass before. Yeah, all right. And I promise you, you would almost think Ant sitting over here like, yo, that we already rehearsed this. Ant literally wrote it at the same time that I was saying it. My moral compass. What is our compass? What is our compass? And I'm going to write a couple different things in the chat, or I'll just throw them out there. Can I just copy and paste this actually? All right, so I'm going to copy and paste this, hopefully. Hopefully it'll work. All right, so these are the areas that I said that I wrote down. And the karma is separated from the money. So I said, okay, what are the areas that, we determine what's right and wrong? Is it religion? Is it spirituality? Is it the laws of nature? Is it the governing laws, the police? Those type of governing laws? Is it karma based on, well, I'm not going to do something to that person because it can come back to me and I wouldn't like it. So therefore, I'm not going to put out that energy because I know it's going to come back to me. Or is it money? Is it money? Is it I do this because that got me money. So therefore, that's what I'm judging on based on what's right and wrong. Which one is it? How do y'all, and hopefully Tafari, you can see, do you see, shout out to Big Bro Far in the building. Hopefully you all could see this, or hopefully you could see it if you just came in far. If not, just let me know. I'll copy and paste it again. Well, actually, yeah, you can see it. I got it pasted on the damn screen. All right, so Tafari, you tell me, is there right and wrong? And I actually, it's funny, I got this question from you because you wrote it in the chat maybe a couple weeks ago, and I held on to it and I was like, yo, that's a good point. That's a good thing for us to discuss. Is there a right and wrong? And which of these areas, or give me maybe some other areas, serves as your moral compass for determining whether or not something's right and wrong? It could be community. Similar to what I said last week, as far as, okay, if everybody in the community made this decision that I'm about to make, what would happen? That's how, one of the ways that I evaluate what's the right or wrong thing. If everybody in the community went this way and decided based on the exact thing that I'm going to decide on, would that impact the community in a positive way or a negative way? What are some areas? So Tafari wrote, no such thing. I think it's all about what rules you choose to follow. But where do you get the rules? Do we create our own rules? Where do we get the rules from? And Ant wrote actually a good one. He said his moral compass, which can change with age, wisdom, and understanding of the situation being questioned. I think our moral compass, 100%, the more we learn, we have to make adjustments. There will never be a point in time in our life to where it's like, oh, we learned everything. We're good. We don't need to learn anything. We're good. We're setting our ways. We're setting our thoughts. That's how we're moving forward. But is that the right way to go about it? And I actually was looking at a podcast it was a religious roundtable, and it was two Christians, well-known Christian activists, or I don't know if you would call them activists, advocates, I guess may be a better word. And then Muslim advocates, they have different shows. They speak out and advocate for their particular religions. And one of the biggest differences that came up between, hopefully y'all can't hear that. One of the biggest differences that came up between the Christians and the Muslims was the fact that with the Christians, they tend to change what they're tolerant of and accepting of. And they were talking about different issues, whether it's LGBTQ, gay marriage, all these different things, to which it seems like, especially in the church, Christians are willing to compromise and tolerate certain things that their scripture says is good or bad, you know what I mean? Right or wrong. And on the Islamic side, it was more so focused on, no, this is our doctrine. It is meant to be followed word for word. It's broken down with simplicity so we can easily apply it to our lives and directly apply it. Where on the Christian side, they were saying, well, it's more so just used as something that, can guide us, but it's not necessarily taken literal. This is just what they were saying. Obviously, everybody's going to have their own interpretation, but their argument, or it seemed like where they separated, where that was a vital piece of it. So hold on, let me make sure I'm getting everybody. So Tafari wrote, from the society you live in. So you get the rules from the society. What aspect of society? Are the rules based on what society and Black Lives Matter says, or what the LGBTQ group says, or society as far as what the politician that you like says, society as far as what the police officer says, society as far as what your teacher tells you? Society, which aspect of society, religion, spirituality, which aspect of society are we using to determine what's right and wrong? And when we don't have a representation of what's right and wrong, in my opinion, it leads to a lot of these conversations that we're talking about. And it leads to a lot of violence, because we are simply not following the same thing. So therefore, our moral compass that we talk about, if it's different and we're not following the same moral compass, and we're not necessarily playing for the same team, and we're all competing, then obviously there's going to be a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements, and people not seeing things on the same page. So Safari wrote, whoever that's in control. It's funny that you mentioned that. Because all the things that I mentioned, and let me throw them back up here. Let me see if I could throw them back up here. Everything that you just meant, I see that as, and you tell me if I'm mistaken, but when you say it's whoever's in control, I see that as nature. I say that is the most natural state, but when it comes to who is in control, Ant brought up a good point. He said, I thought I was in control. We are always in control of what we project. But how do we, and so that's a good point. So Tafari, I would ask you, when you say it's whoever that's in control, so the lion, because they're in control of the jungle, they're always right. But applying that same logic to humans, it could be a little dangerous, very dangerous. Okay, all right, so there's a bunch of guys in the room. So the alpha, whatever they say is right, that's what's right. Well, what if that alpha is not necessarily the most morally responsible person? If they're not the most principled person? I'm not saying you're wrong, and let me be clear, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I actually think that things mostly actually do come down to exactly what you just said. When we go to work and you're reporting to your boss and you say, oh no, I think it should be done this way. And it's proven, and you give and the boss says, we're going to do it this way. Who's right? Who's wrong? And I guess the next question is it even relevant?